Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I forgot the intro. To another episode of Heart to Heart. This time I think it's going to be a little different because we are not just friends but we are engaged. So we're going to talk as a couple. First question, Ma, to you. How much do you think my whole outfit is? Let
What
me
outfit?
just stand up. Whatever I'm wearing, this wraparound skirt and this blouse. The whole outfit, how much do you think it is?
Whole outfit?
You can't see.
Oh, okay. 2,500?
What's with you and Marissa saying the same price? Minus the 2,000
$500.
for both. On some sale, I don't know. Anyways, if I find it and if it's still on sale, you'll find the link in the description box. Okay, so today's topic is, and this was a question asked by the subscribers. Do we fight? Do we have arguments? And if we do, how do we sort it out?
Okay, so what do you think? Do we have arguments?
Yeah. Not as much as I've seen other couples have. I don't think we fight that much. But when we do, we also have, I don't think learned, but I think from the beginning it was in our character to sort it out pretty easily. Because I don't know if you remember when we got engaged and we went to church the next week, every elderly person we met told us to never go to bed angry or to never.
Let the sun go down when you're angry.
Yes. So I think whenever we fight, I think max 20 minutes or longer.
So very rarely we have had fights that have gone longer than 20 minutes. Yes, we have had fights, and it has always been fights which we have been able to discuss and talk about how we feel and what we expect from each other. I think only once our fight prolonged for a day or two.
I think one day, one night.
Once,
One
yeah.
night.
And otherwise,
Yeah,
yes,
and
we've
then
had-
that time we also promised each other that we wouldn't let it happen again.
Right, yeah.
So I think the first time we fought, Deepak and I actually sat down and discussed what we don't like the other person doing when they're angry. Like for example, I don't like it when he's angry or he's upset with me and I hold his hand and he just moves it. Though there are times when I do it when I'm really upset, but I told you not to do it and you don't do it because you are someone who gets angry and walks away from that place. But now I don't think you walk away from there.
Yeah.
Why?
No, I mean, I was just thinking that it's a very difficult thing for me not to do.
Yeah, I get it. But then because you know I don't like it, you
Yeah.
respect that and you don't do it. And you don't like it if someone uses words and is abusive or disrespectful. So I make sure no matter how angry I am, I don't do those things.
Right.
And I think that is very important, is to communicate what you don't like your significant other doing when you all are in that tense situation. Another thing that I learned from you, and I don't know if I mentioned it, is and this was very difficult for me because when I am upset, when I'm angry, I disconnect very easily. Like I just disconnect. My body language, the way I feel, the way I talk, it like it still bothers you sometimes. I learned that even when you are angry and you are arguing with the other person, you can do it with love. And that's how you would argue back with me, right? Even when Deepak would be upset and he would express how angry he would do it with a lot of love. Of course there was anger, but you could still feel the care and concern in his argument.
Right. So I was thinking that I should actually just emphasize on a few things for us to get a better understanding of how we can reach to the level of having healthy arguments or building relationship through conflict. We should understand that the root cause for all of this is anger, right? What is anger? I know you're looking at me through the phone, but then look at me too sometimes.
Okay.
What is anger? Anyone who has a goal to achieve and who meets an obstacle that comes in between them and the goal end up having anger, right? So if I want to go out, instead you give me some work to do, that's an obstacle to the goal that I have, that is going out, I get angry, right? So when we understand that there is a particular obstacle, the first thing you and I should do, or anyone should do, is to analyze which goal, because for you the work that needs to be done is a goal as well. So because we are partners, because we are one, because we are a team, we need to together put both the goals on the same platter and decide to prioritize those goals. The minute we understand that we are prioritizing our goals, it's easy to tag along with the other person's goal and make sure that you do together. The problem, what happens is, eventually, the minute the goal is not met and there's an obstacle, we tend to allow ego come in the way. Say, I am the head of the house. How can your goal be an obstacle to my goal? I should be the one calling the shots. It should be my goals that prevails over your goals. So the minute ego comes into play, there's pride that strives. And when your pride and my pride is striving to overpower each other, conflict bursts. So we need to understand that we need to prioritize each other first before we prioritize our goals itself. There is no point in, eventually, if I shun down your work that you have given me and still choose to go out, I'm not going to be at peace because it has happened over a conflict. So I'd rather not lose you and then have my goals met. I'd rather postpone the goals to be met later based on the priorities and have you by my side. So if we understand this concept, right, it is easy. The second thing we need to understand, sorry, if you want to say something, just cut me. No. So the second thing we need to understand is, anger by itself is not wrong. Anger is an emotion, and we are all emotional people, and we do get emotional sometimes based on our circumstances and situations. So anger by itself is not wrong. What we do in our anger is wrong. Right? So if I'm upset with you and I'm angry with you, and in my anger, if say I don't abuse you, I don't physically hurt you, instead maybe say I lock myself up. In the sense I'm around you but I'm just cutting myself off, or I go out for a walk, right? That would be a better action to choose over the first two ones that I said. So anger by itself is not wrong. How we deal with anger is a problem. The only thing that happens is, eventually, based on the relationship we share and based on who thinks that they are wearing the pants in the relationship, they seem to try to take the upper hand in their anger to overpower the other person. And again, that goes back to the root cause of ego and pride, which causes all of this to happen.
Yeah, I remember this auntie telling us that whenever there's a problem, it's always both of you against the problem.
Yeah.
You all are not fighting each other, you all are fighting the problem. And I think another thing that we've learned to do now is to create a balance. For example, if I'm really angry and I'm upset about something, Deepak is the more calmer one, and he submits that time. He lets me express my anger and lets me say whatever I want to. And if I know that Deepak is really angry and he's upset about something, I always calm down and I submit, and I try not to fight back, because if two people are continuously fighting, like trying to one up the other, it just gets very loud and messy, and it's just not nice.
Right.
So I think creating that balance where when we know that the other person is upset, hurt and angry, I think it's important for us to listen to them, and once they calm down, then we sit and talk. A lot of times when we are angry and you say something and all of that, I just listen. We don't talk about it. But then later on, when we are in a good mood, we sit and discuss it. And I think that balance that we've created has really helped us.
Yeah. So how we came to this balance is, again, with a deeper understanding on a spiritual level. Okay, I always have learned and I admire the fact that we are all sinners, right? We have fallen short of God's glory, and because He's a holy God and we are sinful man, we cannot have union with Him. So every time we sin, God does not look at us and say, "Chi, go away." Instead, He looks at us with love, and yet dislikes the activity of sin that we do. So God loves the sinner but hates sin. It is difficult to understand sometimes. It's like trying to cut the paper not half this way but this way, trying to cut it this way, right? You cannot separate sin from man or sin from the sinner, and yet God loves the sinner and loves and hates sin. So when we understand that God wants us to replicate that same kind of love within each other, then I love you irrespective of what you have done, but I hate what you have done. So I don't deal with you personally, I deal with the issue. So if there is a problem that we face, if there is a friction between us, I'm not going to directly yell at her saying, "You're useless, you're an idiot, you don't know anything." Instead, we are going to deal with the issue by itself. We're not going to make it personal. Every issue does not end up because of the person. It can be wrong choices, but that does not make the person wrong himself, him or her wrong itself. So we need to deal with the issue. Another thing is, as much as we are saying these things, at least I am still a work in progress. We're not perfect. Couple of days back we had a fight, we had an argument, and I lost it. I was screaming at the top of my voice. I was very, very upset. I was boiling hot. And she kept saying, "Don't yell, don't scream." And that just kept aggravating my anger even more. And I said, "I will. Why should everything be your way? I'm putting my foot down. It has to be my way." And my trigger to stop is you crying. The minute I see a few tears shedding, which is, by the way, very quick, I immediately stop. I can't.
Are you serious? It's very quick.
Yes.
No.
So the minute I see her crying, I just stop everything.
No, but even then, I told you one thing, that it is not my way. It's the right way.
Right, yeah.
I do not want to become one of those couples that yell at each other and scream at each other and it becomes normal.
Yeah.
So I kept trying to tell you, don't scream. Not because I think it has to go my way, but it's the right way.
Yeah, so I was not okay, and I was very angry. I loved my anger take over me, and I wasn't thinking rationally, and she had to be the sound-minded person then. But there has been times where she has been upset, screaming. She's been very what's that word? It's not partially aggressive, but she has been aggressive. And it's not a direct form of aggression. It is still aggression though. And so I have to play the role of comforting her, giving her love, letting her know that that's not who she is, and then she comes back to her senses.
Okay, so tell me,
always,
when have I shouted at you?
When your words have not met.
Never. I've never shouted
There
at you.
has been occasions where she has shouted at me, as in she's upset with me and she's yelled at me.
I tell you, I don't like scream.
Okay, baby. So we need to understand that we are responsible for each other, and we need to help each other. There is no "I am better than you" or "you are better than me." Both of us can fail at times, and we just need to help one another in the times when we are vulnerable or when we are weak, and we just let our emotions get the better of us.
Yeah, I think another rule that we have is that like if we are arguing and we have a fight, and if one person decides to hug it out and say, "I'm sorry," we let it go.
Yeah.
It's gone. No matter how upset, or we do talk about it, because I don't think it is a good idea to keep your feelings. We do talk about it when we are in a better mood.
Yeah.
But at that moment, if one of us gives a hug to the other person and says, "I'm sorry," we just let it go. I mean, it just melts us.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it is important for you to understand that it's always you and your partner against the problem. Because that's when it's going to be easier to let go.
Yeah.
If you're going to blame each other, another thing that we've I think it's a conscious thing. We do not put each other down during a fight. We do not humiliate. We do not make the other one feel small or insult the other person.
Yeah.
We
And
don't
mind
do
you,
that.
we have done this in the past. We have done it in other relationships.
Yeah.
Be it with family members, friends. And we realize that all of us are very capable of doing this. And so we want to take a stand to say that we're not going to do this anymore. And we're deliberately trying to make a change in our environment that we are in. One more point that I wanted to mention was, when someone is aggressive, don't trigger what they don't like. For example, when I'm upset and when I take some time out, it just bothers me so much that she sits on Instagram with her phone. I just can't tolerate that. I'm upset there sitting on the couch and I can hear kacha badab kacha kacha. It pisses me off. And it bothers me so much. And sometimes I'm saying, okay, fine, let her take her time. I'm not going to go to her.
No, but I'll tell you one thing. When you're upset and I'm upset too, that's my way of not dwelling on my emotion.
Right. But for me, it's like, oh, she does not respect my emotion at all. And so eventually, somehow, whatever happens, either she gets bored of Instagram and she comes, or I put my pride down and I go towards her. And still with a lot of attitude say, oh, so Instagram is more important for you. And if she's continuing on it, it's just going to trigger me more. So I have told her that when I'm talking to you, put your phone down.
So that is what I meant by I disconnect. So I still struggle with it, I think. So when I disconnect, I suddenly behave like a stranger, like you just cannot recognize me.
Yeah.
And that's my way of coping. Whether it's with trauma, sadness or anything, I disconnect with reality.
Yeah.
I think it has helped me a lot with trauma and losing someone and all of that. But when it comes to the relationship, it has always backfired. So I'm trying not to disconnect. When he's talking, I try to listen. I don't walk off. See, all of us have our flaws. But when you are in a relationship, when two people come together, you have to make these changes to make sure that you do not hurt your partner. Right? There were some qualities that I didn't have that I had to work towards and build just so that I'm not disrespecting you and vice versa. Yeah.
Right. So, argument is good. It is healthy. It helps us understand each other better. So, don't ever write off a relationship because you are having arguments.
Yeah.
We need to understand that we come from totally different backgrounds, nurture versus nature. We come from totally different mindsets. We are different individuals trying to cope, to coexist. So don't write off a relationship just because there are arguments, because arguments only mean that the individual is trying. It means that you mean something to that person, which is why the person is taking the effort to fight it out, to argue or to explain his or herself, so that there can be a change in the environment, so that things will be better for the future. So never write off an argument. And it's a beautiful thing when you argue and then you reconcile and you come back. The most important thing after an argument or a fight or whatever is saying sorry.
Yeah.
Say sorry. It's okay.
No matter how old your relationship is. Sometimes when you've been with a person for 10, 15 years, you don't think it is necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, Deepak and I still use please and thank you and can you do this for me? We don't take each other for granted.
Yes, and that's a deliberate effort. It's not like, because we are still fairly new to each other. We still are yet to start a life together. But we thought that why wait to start living together to then start inculcating all of these practices? Instead, let's set a ground rule, let's set a standard by which we are going to live life. So we say please, we say sorry,
There's
we
no
say
like,
thank you.
yeah, there's no like get water and come. It's always like, can you please get some water for me?
Yeah.
We're always trying and making effort to be kind to each other.
Just being kind
And
to
I
each
learned
other.
that from you.
Yeah.
I don't think I had it in me.
Yeah.
I learned it from you.
Go ahead.
I think another big problem that I think it's a problem with women. Of course, it's the other way around with us. Is nagging.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's be honest. Is like, if something has happened, you've let it go, you've moved on. Don't keep talking about it. Don't keep nagging the other person about it. A lot of women have this problem. Is you go on nagging and nagging and nagging and nagging, and when the guy loses his patience, then it becomes his issue. Like, how could you do this to me? So I think you know, Mama, tell Mama, do I nag you?
Yeah, so the other point that I wanted to talk about is
Do I nag you?
very rarely actually. She doesn't nag. In fact, I'm the one who nags, because I'll explain myself. Because one thing needs to be told to our madam 100 times before it's done.
No, I'll tell you what it is. You stress about everything, and I'm the more chill person.
I stress because you're too chill.
Yeah,
If I want something to be done, we'll do it. And something that can be done in a day's time takes about 3 weeks before
no,
it's done.
not at all. It's just that he's more like into everything, and I'm
Yeah, I just
chill.
try being a perfectionist. And now that we are a team, I can't do anything by myself, nor can I just go ahead by myself. I want you by my side. And okay, I want you by my side in everything I'm doing. So I kind of keep pushing her. I keep encouraging her. So sometimes it turns into a nag, because after the 73rd day, it
No, but
becomes very
this
difficult.
is you're talking about, like, you know, daily chores and all of that. I'm talking about after a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure that it's emphasized enough that it doesn't happen again. Another thing that I actually wanted to say, come up with something cute between. I'm sure every couple has something that they do very cute. We have a lot of habits. We have these baby voices that we say sorry with, or please, or stuff like that, which just eases the whole situation. I might be really pissed about something that maybe you have disconnected, but the minute you say something in that,
Or I do my weird dance.
yeah, something like that. So when she does that, it just changes the environment. It just makes things a little more easier to deal with.
Also, I think for the first few months, we found it very difficult to have arguments face to face, because
Yeah.
we'd start laughing. In a way, I think it's really good. But on call, we were really good at fighting with each other. But when we were in person, I don't think we could. We would, at least one of us would start laughing,
Yeah.
and then we just forget everything,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yeah, and I think in the midst of your emotions and your anger, we shouldn't forget to communicate the right things, because eventually the whole purpose of us trying to talk to each other or argue with each other is to communicate what I feel about something and what you feel about something. So if communication is difficult, see, we do need to build a form of discipline, right? So we can maybe have an object that says that whoever holds the object is the one that speaks and the other one listens. So if I'm holding this, as long as I'm holding it, you will listen. And then I pass it on to you, and then you speak, and then I listen. Eventually what happens is, if I am listening to you only to counter every point you're making, then it's just going to be an argument over and over again. Instead, if I try to listen to you, to understand what you're saying, and have the attitude to make your life better, and vice versa, then it's an easy way to
Yeah.
build the relationship through the conflict.
I think as partners, you need to be good listeners.
Yeah, and that's one skill that a lot of us
Like,
lack.
True. But always remember, there's no perfect relationship. There are arguments, disagreements, fights in every relationship. But don't let that become a norm. Don't let that feel very normal to you. Learn to trust your partner. Like Deepak and I think in that department, we are really good. We've been really good from the day we met. Is we've never had a fight. Like I've never been over possessive over him for something or some girl or whatever it is. We just don't have that in us. We don't fight over these things. And same thing with Deepak. There's no jealousy. We don't fight. Always remember, if something can be forgotten, if something is small enough for you to let go, let go. Don't, many times the argument would have started with a small petty issue, and you go on and on and on and on. Finally, couples forget what they were arguing about. What was the main issue? It just builds up and builds up, and something else comes up and all of that. So these petty and small things, I think you should let go, because it's not worth fighting over. Like hurting your person for something really small, I think is just not worth it.
Yeah, so like you were saying, none of us are perfect. We aren't perfect too. We are working towards it. We are just sharing what we are learning through the process. And even though we know theory, practically we still struggle sometimes. And we are going to work on this. And we are just encouraging people out there who might be having this as a difficulty to use these methods to, maybe get to a better stage. The other thing is, as much as we are saying that you need to work it out, do not be foolish to avoid red flags when they pop up. In an argument, if someone is being very violent, very abusive, very disrespectful to parents or family members, before you have built a relationship with them, then it's a red flag. And you need to take a call if you want to continue doing what you're doing with them at that moment or not. You cannot brush it under the carpet and then expect things to be fine later. And you cannot camouflage it with your good memories, because ultimately life will change. Good memories will change. Life is going to get to us sometimes, and we may not have a bed of roses all the time to lay on. We might have difficulties, and in the midst of difficulties, in the midst of fluctuating emotions, in the midst of anger, how does your partner deal with it? How are they capable of running a family in the midst of it? And if they are not capable of doing it, then I think they need more time to grow. And if you're not capable of handling yourself as an individual and then as a couple, then I don't think you're ready for a family either.
Because I've always believed that there are some things that you should never say even when you are angry. Because you say it in anger, but the other person listens to it and it sticks with them. No matter how much you apologize and all of that, some things cannot be forgotten. So there are certain things that you should never bring up. You should never say to your partner during fights, because that can really break your partner's heart.
Yeah. I heard one of my mentors say that every time Auntie, his wife, would scream at him about something, he would just sit quietly and allow her to finish. And so she's venting out, her stress is getting relieved, her energy is relieved, and then eventually she stops, she's calm, and she says, "Don't you have anything to say?" And then he would say, "Are you done? Are you finished?" And when she says yes, he sits and explains his side of the story and what he thinks. Eventually, she's run out of energy. Eventually, she's not fired up anymore. Her stress has released, and she's at a better place to listen to you. And that has worked with her.
Yes.
Most of the times, she's going on and on and on about something. And after a point, once I know that her battery has drained a little, I then say, "Are you finished? Can you listen to me?" And then explain myself, and then the baby voice comes out.
Yeah,
and
because my battery
things
drains
change.
because I have a problem. I can't express my feelings without crying. I don't know. Like I try not to cry, but then it just happens when I'm expressing how I'm feeling, when I'm expressing what is hurting me, I just cry. So I completely get drained because I'm crying and I'm trying to explain what I'm feeling. I'm trying to express what's in my heart. So I get drained. And then he just stand there and keep looking at me and he'd be like, "Are you done now?" And I'd be like, "Yeah."
Yeah. So the ultimate focus is
No,
love.
but I think I'm glad touch wood. I don't want to think, but I've not cried a lot.
And it's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, guys, don't blame yourself if the girl is crying a lot. I know you care about her eyes. You just want it clean most often. Okay,
There are
kidding.
young kids watching it.
Yes. So sometimes emotionally people have a certain way of dealing with issues or emotions, and her way of dealing with it is by crying. She just can't hold it in. It comes out through her eyes. Now I can't. As much as it affects me, that and I'm quick to just go and embrace her, saying, "Okay, I'm sorry." Sometimes I need to just wait because it's a good thing for me that she's venting out her energy in that way. So it's a good thing for me that you cry because you're also saying things out and you're crying. So the vent out is faster.
The energy gets
Yeah.
drained faster. Yeah. So
So yeah, these are some of the things we do when we have fights and arguments, and these are the things that we just mentioned that we believe in, and we think that if we continue believing in them, I've mentioned this before. Right believing is right living. If you believe right, you will live it out right. So believe in the right things and submit yourself to that truth, and strive to keep churning that in your life on a daily basis. And yes, we are still in our young journey. We are still trying to
we
deal
have a
with,
lot to learn.
yeah, we are dealing with new things now. How to deal with money, how to deal with family members. Trust me, if a couple um, goes through the process of marriage, that they are the core people who are involved in it, and if they pass it successfully, that's one exam that you have cleared, because it is very, very difficult to balance two families, very difficult to please all of them, with the motive of holding all of them together.
And fulfilling our desires.
Sorry.
And
Fulfilling our desires through the process.
because usually a lot of things parents decide, no?
Yeah.
But in our case, we are the ones who are deciding everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just the money is coming from the parents.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So don't be hard on yourself. Arguments, fights are very normal,
yeah.
but don't let that become
Right.
your normal.
Right. And it's okay if you have a fight. Just work on it. Get back. Sometimes, okay. So one thing I must say, she said, "If you don't stop yelling, I'm going to walk out." Okay, and I said, "You walk out, and that's the end of us." So, and right out of the fight, I was like, "Oh, you don't leave me, and you're stuck with me for life," and all of that. So we know that we don't mean it. In our anger, sometimes we say things to put ourselves above others, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are doing that too. So don't hold things that you say.
Yeah,
in
but we
anger.
didn't do it. Even though I said don't scream, I'm going to walk out,
Yeah.
you still were screaming, but I didn't walk out. I was only pretending to take stuff, and I'm just moving around the room.
Yeah, and even though I said you walk out and that's the end of us, but I was blocking the door, making sure you never walked out. So in anger, we might say a lot of things, but just make sure that you don't take it personally and hold on to those things, because we might say a lot of bitter things in our anger, and the minute we hold on to it, then even our good moments are going to be seen through that lens of thoughts that we are holding in our mind.
True. Okay, do you think I'm wearing a pretty outfit? Do you think someone else would want to wear it?
Yeah, you look nice. It's a nice outfit.
Then I'll leave the links in the description box. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It's summer. He's sweating because we are filming this at 11 in the
Yes,
night, and we had to use the ring light.
Yes, and it's a totally different setup.
He's in my room, guys. Can you believe it?
And our brothers are outside.
I know. My brother would always tell me that I can't believe you come with another guy and then I let you go with him. You're a brother too.
Right.
But yeah, you'll find our Instagrams in the description. I know a lot of y'all complain that I don't respond to your messages, but it just gets lost in the DMs when I'm responding to others, and sometimes some girls want to have a conversation and all of that. So if you want something's really urgent, you can always message Deepak on Instagram and I read it.
Everyone who has messaged me can vouch that they've got a reply.
I was also like that in the beginning. The beginning.
No, but my whole purpose to be on YouTube or just be a part of your channel is so that I can help as many people as I can. So a lot of people have reached out with help and have asked for advice and suggestions and shared their life stories, and it has been very private. In fact, I haven't even shared it with
unless someone is asking for me, I don't.
So there will be a lot of prayer that goes into it. We're praying for all of you who've been asking for help, and that's the only motive behind these videos, and I hope that this helps. If there are any changes or new things that we learn, we will definitely share it with you all, and we just are blessed with the knowledge that we share, and we want to be a blessing. So you're blessed to be a blessing, and that's what we believe in. So I hope you guys liked what we shared. Late hours that we've spent making this video.
After eating nice biryani.
Yes, biryani for life. Just a little tired, but we're glad we're doing this. So until we meet you in the next video or vlog, until then, signing off.
Bye. Aye, that's for them.